All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to an episode of Bants on Banter. This was inspired by myself going back into internet and YouTube history and listening to several hours of some videos done by the artist formerly known as the Internet Aristocrat. And he pointed out a number of interesting things. And hello, Mr. Matt. Welcome to the internet. We're banting about banter and how a number of folks, whom seems like several years ago, their general ethos was you shouldn't care about words that people say about you on the internet, and now they seem to care about words said about them on the internet. It just I don't know. It kind of bothers me. It kind of grinds my gears. I don't know what's going on, guys. Panel, let's go.
Okay, well, let me ask a question. Right? Who are you specifically referring to?
So you're. I mean, this is. Well, I
In
guess.
general, give me a
Well,
couple.
so
Throw
so
it into the,
so what? I'll put it this way. I may have put as a tagline in there, skeptics.
okay.
As an individual that likes to be skeptical about things and may at times at least consider myself a skeptic. I believe there were some ancient Greek folks too that were skeptical of things. It was one of those things that I noticed when I just kind of started jumping in, listening to videos of uh, whether it's okay, Sargon, this, that, other folks. I get it. You're creating a business. This is your livelihood and everything. And like I can understand and I can kind of respect that, but it's just if you're going around and you're gonna just take the absolute piss out of folks on the internet doing response vids or just like critiques or stuff like that and saying, come on, you shouldn't care about this. Oh, it doesn't matter.
Well, wait a minute here. Right? The idea that you should care about what people are saying, right? Then what the hell's the point of even coming online? I mean,
Oh,
the
I
whole
mean,
point is to, especially from the skeptic community, is their whole point was to go after, right? Especially initially, apparently, religious people on the internet. The internet was becoming too religious, and we needed to douse them. Okay, that seems to have been what the intent was. Now, I wasn't a part of that, so I didn't see it. All right, I'm just going by what I've been told, and if I'm wrong about the consequence of that or what was actually happening, well, I apologize. But I'm just going by, in this case, what I've heard. But if that's the case, then what were they going about anyway? They were already, these skeptics that you're talking about were already going in with an attitude about what people were saying on the internet, right?
okay, let me clarify and change the level of analysis. No, you can absolutely care about what people say and you can have responses, but doesn't it go back to the argument in and of itself? And one of the things that I notice, especially on the internet, is just you can do things because, oh, you have the ability to do things. You can do this because we can. It's just if you're doing that, let's face it, folks can be shitty. Folks can be dicks, assholes, and at times they can be absolute pricks. But again, it is words said on the internet, and I get it. If you're going to beat the crap out of verbally just somebody that's just doing whatever, it's like okay, maybe that ain't the most cool thing in and of itself, but it just kind of like pokes and prods me in that okay, if you're going to be a type of individual that's going to say, "Oh, hey, no, don't let this thing bother you," just kind of like have it be like rolling water off a duck's back or something like that, and then all of a sudden, folks just kind of start poking at you. They kind of just start jabbing, they're trolling you a little bit, and you just kind of like.
Well, okay,
It,
but why would you be jabbing them and trolling them if you're not trying to get a rise out of them?
well, no, my general thoughts here is a lot of the folks, and yes, no, absolutely, people do that. Hell, I identify as a troll, but it's if you're going to do it and tell other folks that it shouldn't matter what folks say, and then all of a sudden you kind of just start caring about like stupid little shit that people say, it just irks me. I'm sorry,
Okay,
MC.
correct me if I'm wrong, but what you're saying is that people who are engaging in childish behavior are continuing to act like children themselves.
I mean, I that seems like a decently fair assessment. I'll go with it.
And
See, it sounds to me like you're complaining about the words that are on the internet, that are being said on the internet at least. And
I
that's what you're complaining that everybody else is complaining about.
well,
I mean, we could go down into the slinky, just rolling downstairs over in bears. Uh, I mean, that is one perspective on it. It's just, it, it's more of the response from a
okay,
lot of folks that say they don't care, and then all of a sudden they get that jab, and it goes in just the right way, and like there's a little bit of lemon on the end there, and just there was a hair bit of salt on it, and the blade was kind of rusty, and it hits a sore spot. And we all do have sore spots. It's like I get that, but it's just like trolling 101. Like if somebody really jabbed you, it's like you don't engage. And then all
well,
of a sudden, I'm seeing a
but
lot
you're
of
not.
engagement, and it just seems to be burning a lot of shit down just for drama's sake. I don't know.
No, there's a sort of several aspects of this. Okay, one, we're engaging in this medium right now. You're not looking at me. I'm not looking at you. Okay, we're not seeing each other's interaction. Even even if you're doing it on camera, okay, you're only getting certain aspects depending upon how how good the visual quality is. All right, other visual cues that you would normally pick up on in life. All right, so this medium is something that can cause a lot of misconceptions or misunderstandings quite readily because of the wrong impressions. Right, people haven't been taught how to respect one another. All right. In fact, if you listen to many of the people that are on this medium, like Sticks and so forth, he's basically of the opinion that nobody should be respecting anybody. Now I know that that's going a little bit hyperbolic and a little bit excessive, but overall, he's like, I don't want my edginess taken away. We're this was the edgy medium. This is where people are going to be edgy. In other words, this is where people are going to act like children. This is where people were going to go out there and overly, not just express themselves, but overly express themselves, right? To a farther extent. Okay. And when you do that and when you explore in that and you want to shed some of that, well then it's easy enough to step over the line, especially when the other person can't see you and you don't even realize that you're even crossing a line or even that you're getting personal necessarily. Now there's one thing, all right, I mean, to call somebody and say, look, this is this concept, here's the problems with your concept, but the reality is just go back and listen to some old Thunderfoot videos. Is that how what he's doing? All right, you listen to his videos and he's quite insulting. All right, he's quite, some of it's funny, I'm not going to deny it. All right, but he's being quite insulting with some of his words and some of his verbiage, and it is intentional. And then you're surprised that people at some point are going to take offense. Now I agree with you when you say there are people out there saying, it's just words, and you shouldn't take offense to it. And oh my God, now I'm offended. Yeah, it is somewhat duplicitous, but at the same time, it happens because they think they have a line and that they don't cross it, and they don't even realize where that line is for the other individual. There is no establishment or no way of commonality when you say, well, here's the line for this. What's the line? I mean, go back to the fallout from Sargon and Thunderfoot again, and I realize that I'm using these two as foils, but when they had the argument about whether or not they should be laughing about Russian Deadpool, right? And the situation that evolved out of there. right? The tragic situation that came out of that. Okay, where here's Thunderfoot. He's not directly involved, but he thinks that what happened in that and that Sargon was a part of it was beyond the pale. Okay, laughing at somebody else's misery. It's amusing to me that he would do that simply because he was engaging in similar activity as well. Although his line was different necessarily than what other people's were, and he was trying to hold them to a standard that had never been established. Do we have standards of comedy, not comedy, but comedy on the internet? Has that ever been established? And anytime somebody tries to make that standard, what's the result of it? I mean, just today, for example, in a Twitter, and I realize I'm kind of pontificating here, and put it in lecture mode. Today on Twitter, right? There was a tweet about these high schoolers in Wisconsin, where half of them were given look like they're given the Nazi salute, right? And somebody goes, well, they probably just thought it was funny and they just thought it was edgy. And another person wrote, can't you see what's effing wrong with something like this? Or what was the word that was used? How inappropriate this was. And I fired back at this person saying, okay, I don't disagree with you that it's inappropriate, but can't you sit up there and say the same about the people kneeling for the flag on the NFL? Here you are getting all jumpy and jumping down someone's throat about what you deem as inappropriate. But if it's something that you don't deem inappropriate, well, then it's a person's right for freedom of speech.
Can I just point out right now that I love the fact that MC, you are the voice of reason in this panel. Because no, it really feels like I'm hearing you lecture to me like I've tried to lecture to other people. Is this what it feels like?
Oh,
go on, Matt.
There is a very interesting caveat to that picture with the high school boys during what looks like the Nazi salute up. It turns out one of those boys is doing that finger hole, look at my finger thing. I'm not sure what that's called.
Oh, where you just kind of like put one finger as you're trying to like, oh, look at me, I'm having faux sex. No,
it's the little circle
the
where.
Sign?
Yeah. He's tried. It seems. It kind of seems like that whole photo was a matter of. It got to the point where you're looking at everybody's hands. They're making this fake Nazi salute, except for that one boy doing that thing where you put your finger and your thumb together.
Yeah, you're just giving it an okay.
Yeah, that thing. It's that whole trick where, to be honest, I don't know what it means now. I know 15 years ago, if you got caught looking at that, you got slugged in the shoulder. But it kind of seems like that picture was turned into that whole one gag where you're so busy looking at what everybody's looking for, they tricked you into looking at this one kid making the okay sign.
Oh, well, that just seems like... Oh, and a wild ogre has appeared. I think he's hiding in the brush right now. But,
it's a Mrs. Ogre.
Oh, we have a Mrs. Ogre. We're in for a treat. Oh, man. Welcome, Mrs. Ogre.
Thanks.
We're just having a little bant on banter here. And no, I get what you're saying, and it really feels different that MC is speaking words of sanity to myself. I probably should have reclarified because I pretty much agree with most everything that was just said right there. My thing is, if somebody's going to be engaging in, especially, let's say, the body politique, if you're going to be talking about perhaps controversial things, perhaps important subjects, and if you're going back and forth against folks, and if you're kind of maintaining as your general logos that, oh, you shouldn't really care what people are saying about you on the internet. If you're going to say that to other people...
I gotta go. I think somebody's here.
All right, do what you got to do, Miss Sharati. Thank you for joining. And if all of a sudden other folks start doing the same thing to you, and if you're kind of like freaking out about what folks are saying and doing about you, and again, aside from like doxing and shit, something that may actually cause harm to an individual, Like if you're just having like a good bit of fun, and some of this actually came up because today at work I was talking with one of the guys, and he's probably not quite 50 yet, but he had stayed with some contractors we had the other night, and they were working till like 4 o'clock in the morning, and he's like, dude, it's probably like the first time in like almost 20 years I've been just hanging around with some dudes at work, and they were just cursing each other out, just using the most foul language, but it was in like a loving, banterish type of ways. It's just like you don't see that anymore. And it's just as long as the individuals like it's kind of like a cultural thing or something.
It
It's kind of
depends on
like,
where you live.
well, that's very true. That's very true. And again, perhaps my clarification should be that, and again, you shouldn't just go around just shitting on folks to just shit on them. It's just my focus is that if you're a type of individual and you're really big on free speech and everything, and you're going to go around saying, "Oh, you shouldn't care what folks say," if all of a sudden folks just start saying not so nice things about you on the internet, and then all of a sudden you're like, "Oh, woe is me! Oh, it's the end of the world as we know it." It just kind of grinds my gears. I don't know. Am I crazy? Well, I mean that's
Maybe a little.
Oh, hey.
Well,
What you eat?
should you be defending? Should you be defending yourself from or if somebody is attacking your character? Do you not have the right to sit up there and defend yourself?
I mean, you do,
Okay.
but it's just
It goes back to that line, though. Where is the personal line? All right.
It's not really about the right. It's about giving dignity to the person that's attacking you.
I like that. That sounds like a good answer. I'm not sure what's an answer to, but it's an answer. No, and that's the thing, because a lot of the times it's like when I'm like defending other folks, it's often just because, well, like if they're not there to defend themselves, it's like, oh, I just kind of try to explain maybe where they're coming from, and I get a lot of shit for it, and that's fine. That's fine. It's the internet. I get it. But it's just, no, MC, you're right. There is no true standard and everything, and I think maybe that was part of just like the early flair to the internet, just because you'd have a whole bunch of different groups, different communities, different forums, chat rooms, this and that, and folks could be absolute assholes. And you know what? If you didn't like hanging around with a bunch of assholes, you left, you X'd out of the window, you peaced out, you found a nice place. If you want folks to just say awesome, nice words to you every time you just check in or something, there are places for that. There's plenty of hug boxes. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Everyone likes a little love once in a while. But it's just, I don't know. Is it a hypocrisy thing? And like again, maybe I'm just beating around the bush because I don't want to sit around and call people out just because I'm some guy hiding behind a dragon avatar with 51 subscribers. But
Matt just made a point, and it's a very, very good point actually. All right, but it needs to be pushed out a little bit further. Okay, these guys that were doing this thing in the picture 15, 20 years ago, would you have seen that? What does it mean to these kids that were doing it? Were they doing something as a joke? What were they doing as a joke? Is it an in-class joke? Okay, is it something that's in-house? One of those things that you do with friends that other people don't get because you had to be there. All right, all of this comes into play. But one of the differences that the internet does is the internet is a distribution node. Everything that hits the internet, everything that comes on here is distributed worldwide. So when you talk about things like, is this appropriate? Is this, beyond the pale, right? Well, that's a good question, but the question then remains, to what degree and to who? We don't have a set of universal standards or social standards that we've adapted on how to treat each other in the internet, aside from the very loose standard of thou shalt not dox. Nobody likes a doxer. Okay, we have certain rules like that generally everybody agrees with. All right, but aside from that, how other people get treated and what they're called and when they're called what and where and how, there is no commonality. So are you expecting this to be a Bible session? Some people probably are, believe it or not. And at the same time, are you expecting us, to be, the drunken sailor stream where everyone is cursing every other word?
No, that's a very interesting topic, MC, and you bring up a very interesting point. Should we have general commonalities or standards? I don't know. Is that something like? And again, like, I'm not really a big fan of going around just doing legislation for the sake of just doing legislation because someone's not really a big fan of something.
But where did
I'm more of like a
come from?
cultural thing.
Well, where did legislation come from? You go from there straight to legislation?
Hey! We need to set up the barriers. We need to set up the ends. I'm treating it like an asymptote. We're going all the way to one end. We said, okay, let's not do that right now. Let's not discuss that. Let's put that out of the equation.
Did you say an acid
then,
toad?
I said words. The words I was meaning was asymptote because all I know is math is hard. But the one thing that I learned is it's a line over an infinitesimally small point that goes in infinity in both directions.
Asymptote, not
tote. Yeah, what he said. No. But you get what I'm saying. Like, I mean, should we kind of have like more of a developed culture? Just because it's like, at least in what was it? One of Jim's old videos and stuff. He's like, we had a forum and we were complete assholes, and we would just poke and jab and kind of like flame at each other a little bit. But he's like, that was the culture. It may have also had to do with an anime, so it may have had a slight nerve with me as well, because I'm like, I like anime. I mean, I don't necessarily need complete assholes, but it's like, no, I get like...
You got called a weeboo and you went and cried in your little bed. Is that what you're trying to say now? This is
I mean, well, in the greater Kathy Newman, Jordan Peterson era, I mean, you could say that. And I still like lobsters.
I'm sorry, I had to go there. I realized
no, it's fine. It's fine. I am taking. I fucking decided to start a stream talking about things that I often I don't know, defend against.
Hey,
shit like that. What's up, Mr. Hogan?
You brought it up, dude. You brought it up.
This is true.
What about this attack on Jordan Peterson for his quote unquote anthropomorphizing of lobsters? I mean, isn't it a bit much that they have to look at that? And I think Mrs. Ogre, she brought some up to me today, being a scientist like me, but in the hard sciences, I'm a soft scientist, psychologist. That was really interesting to me. But what about, I mean, I don't want to cut it up, but we're talking about words. What about that? Wasn't that an ad hom to look at a guy that's a neuroscience genius and to like question his anthropomorphizing of a lobster?
I like lobsters, and I mean, it was kind of hilarious the way she asked. So we should be more like the lobsters, and just the look on his face.
Yeah, it just on the face. Got to go there, right? Piss on the front.
It's just like, what the hell is going on? And to be fair, as somebody who I guess could be classified as a scaly and stuff like that, I mean, I would have to go to the lobsters. We'd have to ask the greater crustacean community how they feel about it.
Is it because of your avatar, or is that like an acid toad?
No, that's not an acid toad. No. See, scaly is a subsect of furry. Do I guess fully identify as that? I don't know. I don't mind it. I watched a lot of Sonic Saturday AM, if that explains anything.
Yeah, it does. Okay, it does. Yeah.
I mean, come on. Does it really surprise you? Oh, all these folks. Oh, they happen to like this or that. It's like, really? Have you watched TV for the past 20 years?
Yeah. Well, look, I wanted you to succeed so bad in this stream that I brought a hot chick along with me. So back to the question at hand. Words. It's words. So wasn't that some kind of vicious ad hom, man? To me, it was.
Well, to me, it just kind of seems silly. And I think this goes back to MC's point. We all take things differently. We each have our own unique life experience.
Well, you used the term.
True, but that was kind of dumb when she said that. I mean, he was making a serious point. I mean, he wasn't saying that we are lobsters, but, you know, when you look at the hierarchies, this is just from science. When you look at the hierarchies of other creatures and you're comparing them to human nature, You kind of have to anthropomorphize a little bit.
Well, we are an animal. You can take a look at other animals, and we're going to have things in common with other animals. That's obvious. Now, I find it interesting that Ogre, that you use the term vicious attack. I don't know if I would necessarily use the term vicious, but that goes back to exactly what Memes was mentioning before. Right?
Let me tell you
Everyone
very
has a
quickly,
different
not to interrupt your idea, but hang on. I'll tell you why I called it vicious. Because when he pressed her, because viciousness is without thought. That's why I use that word. That's why I want to tell you. Because when he pressed her, he said, would you like to get into the neuroscience of this? He said, because I'm a professional neuroscientist. And her response was, yeah, I know my neuroscience. Her response was pretty much, no, I'm a moron. Let's move on. That's why I call it vicious, because it came from a place of, I seen this article where someone else said the lobster pisses out of its face, which Common Sense Guy and I covered like a day before this came out. And then I'm going to repeat this. That's why I call it vicious. So I think you're right to critique me on that. Carry on. Sorry.
No, I just find it interesting that you use the term vicious. All right, it's not.
See, I'm not to interrupt you, MC, even though I'm interrupting you. See, I just assumed Mr. Ogre was kind of trolling just because he could, because it's the internet and you can do that.
Asshole.
oh no, it's not like somebody may take things one way. MC considers it the other way. Oh, why is he doing this? And I'm just like, oh, he's just being a dick to be a dick. that would never confuse millions of folks all across the world.
I would never be a dick. My wife is right here. She'll attest to it.
You can
No,
go
but it goes to what I was saying to begin with. We all have we have something we call internet culture. But is it really a culture at this point? Have we established the cultural identities and cultural mores and the rules for it? No, we haven't. We're trying to get there, but this is a relatively new when it comes to humanity, where humanity is interacting with other human beings in an entire different manner. A culture will develop out of this. Morals and rules and standards and everything will eventually result out of all of this. All right. But human beings don't necessarily change at the fastest way possible. Yes, we're adaptable creatures. All right. But some of this stuff takes time to flesh out. Some of this stuff I think sometimes people have expectations of these things changing rapidly, and they're not going to change rapidly. You know, the human beings change. Yes. Can human beings change rapidly? An individual can change very rapidly, but cultures, there's limits to how fast a culture can change. All right. Where it doesn't break down, where it just totally doesn't, where the culture doesn't disintegrate and you end up in chaos. Will another culture rise out of that? Yeah, of course it will. All right. But I think that's part of the issue that you're dealing with right now, is that this is a cultural shift. This is a long-term cultural shift, and it's going to take time before it finishes all the different dynamics that are a part of it.
Well, it is very interesting, but all I'm saying is, if I log into Twitter and I scroll through something, it kind of looks like there's a lot of chaos going on. Maybe there's just growing pains, adaptability, kind of learning.
I think it is a lot. A lot of it is growing pains. A lot of it's people getting used to how, what the rules are and how to express themselves on the internet, what's acceptable and what isn't. I think that's all a part of it. It's all being played out.
And we have a wild pumpkin trucker that has appeared. What's going on, my man?
Hello.
What's going on? We're just banting a little on Banter. Maybe I'm looking for a little catharsis here. All I know is I started following the quote-unquote skeptic community about like a year and a half, 2 years ago. And the general ethos that I got was, you shouldn't care about mean words said on the internet. And then circa 2018, many of these same individuals are saying, can you believe the mean words that were said about me on the internet?
Yeah, ain't that the truth? Bunch of faggot ass pussies.
Just kind of curious your thoughts, man, from another trucker.
It really shouldn't matter what somebody says about you or what you say to somebody else about the internet. The internet, for the most part, I think it's a facade. Really, it's that little mask of your persona that you can put on and not worry about someone else finding out.
Wait a second, Mr. Trucker here. Now,
Yeah.
dude, have you ever watched any professional wrestling?
I'm gonna date myself extremely here, but the last major wrestling match I watched was Hulk Hogan versus Andre the Giant.
Yeah!
That was a good one. That was a good one. Ain't nothing wrong with no. The reason why I say that is because what you just described there is a term from the business known as kayfabe, kind of like your in-ring persona and stuff. And just like a lot. No. The reason why I say that is because it's kind of like you're doing your whole thing, and you got different folks out there. You got Hulk Hogan. He would go out there and he just starts shaking his head. He looks like he's absolutely nuts as he's going to body slam Andre, and fucking 50,000 people get off this. It's like, yeah, because you're kind of like playing up a character. And the best ones were basically they just take what they are and they just dial up to 11, kind of like the Macho Man Randy Savage, may he rest in peace. It's you just take your persona and you play into it, and it's very interesting because whenever I'm talking to folks that may consider themselves more of like shit posters or skeptics or something like that, I'll hear the same thing that I've heard more recently from a lot of folks that are kind of like more kind of leftish, SJW-ish and stuff. They're like, oh, I'm completely different in real life. If I see someone face to face, I'm just going to have a general level of etiquette and just decorum with them. Whereas if I get on the internet, no, I'm playing shit up. I'm playing a character.
That's
if you would.
Kayfabe, though.
Well, that's actually
not kayfabe. Because the people that are good at that, memes, the real ones, the ones that we love, the ones that just Pumpkin Trucker. By the way, Pumpkin Trucker, you're talking to two old school truckers right now.
Okay.
Anyway, the curly freak and the rubber bullet was what we were called in those days. Anyway, a real kayfabe is a magnification of that person's actual character, which I'll say for myself. Mrs. Ogre's sitting right here. She knows it's true. What anyone online sees of me is an extreme and I mean even my live streams, is an extreme magnification. Every fucking word you hear me say of the real me. If you knew the real me, I'd be so boring you wouldn't last a minute.
Not me. I'm just
that.
me.
Well, that actually makes a lot of sense. I mean, like Memes and I, we mentioned this yesterday in a different conversation. Actually, online, I'm social. I'll talk to anybody. I'll talk to anybody about anything. But when it comes to being in real life, chances are I'm not going to talk to you. Chances are, I mean, I've got a handful of maybe 5 people that I speak to. That's really it.
Can I ask why?
I'm very introverted and very agoraphobic in real life.
Oh, okay.
You don't drive truck then?
Oh, I drive a truck.
Okay, I can dig it though, brother, because I got hooked on crank for like a year, and I got so fucked up in my cab that I could drive that motherfucker across country, but the problem was I didn't want to get out of the cab. It was like when I had to go and get my bills of lading and shit, I'd be a little paranoid, but then I just get back up in the rig. I had a Volvo 77.
Oh, I got a good old, I got a nice Cascadia here.
Oh, okay.
Freight shaker.
Yeah, no, there's no problem with those. When we owned our own rig, we had a W9 Kenworth with the studio. Anyway, look, we're going to
there you go.
I just can't believe I'm just glad I'm talking to a trucker. The fact of the matter is, when you're driving your truck, and you know this from experience, you know everything. And as soon as you get out of it, you kind of lose a lot of knowledge. So I feel honored that I'm here with someone that actually has the keys of all knowledge. Because it's true. That's the truth. Truckers know fucking everything.
Well, considering all we do is sit and think about stuff and talk to ourselves, yeah. We may not be right, but we got an opinion on everything.
Well, exactly. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. Other folks might not like it, but no, you bring up a very interesting point because the internet for many people, I mean, especially if they're of a more introverted nature and stuff, like it's an outlet and stuff. You can like talk to somebody like you don't really know, so it's weird in that if you're talking to somebody you don't really know, you might open up about things and stuff. And like I'll give you guys a real quick example at like my work and stuff. We happened to have like a vendor, and one of the individuals was a vendors that came in. She happened to be a gal, and she happened to feel like she was born into the wrong body. So she was started going through like all like the therapy and stuff like that, and became like a trans dude. So and then what I noticed from like some of her other colleagues, excuse me, his other colleagues, they I guess he was just very excited about just going around and kind of talking to them about it. But like for them, like they just didn't really care. It wasn't of interest to them. And I guess like he's kind of started to feel a little bit bummed out. Whereas if on the internet you can find other folks that like talking about stuff that you're interested in stuff, I mean, they'll go like all day. They can talk for hours about stuff and opening it up. So it's like kind of like MC was saying, like as human beings, we've had thousands of years of being socialized in that, yeah, you would see a person, you'd see their expressions, you'd interact with them. So we've adapted and developed over these thousands of years, whereas you got the internet that's about 20, 30 years old. It's a completely different dynamic. So like we don't know the rules. Are there rules? Should there be rules? Or is it more of just like culture?
There will be rules. We will establish rules. Humans will establish rules that they get along with. All right, because it is YouTube is right when they call it a community. It is a community to an extent. It is an extended community. It isn't like the normal in real life communities necessarily, but it is a society in and of itself. It is a community of itself, and you're going to have areas of the internet that are going to form due to commonality, due to interest. All right, and you're going to see areas that interact in a different manner. But human beings, in order to interact with one another, they got to sit up there and start from some kind of point of commonality. And since that has to be established, since you need points of commonality, you will start to establish different rules for different areas. And most likely what you'll do is you'll see certain communities that will be very, open and free flowing. And then you'll have other communities that will generally be fairly closed, that will for lack of a better term, I'm not saying this about him, but I'm just going to use him as an example. People like Steve Shives that sit up there and have areas that are closed off, or as the term goes, in their own little echo chambers. But you'll see those kind of areas form as well.
Yeah, no, I hopped into one of his live streams. I'm like, all right, gonna do my standard thing, just hop into the chat, say, hey guys, what's going on? I'm like, oh, there's no chat for this video. Oh, that's slightly disappointing, but at the same time, like I understand why he does it, because he gets hate from a lot of folks, so he just pops up all like those block lists and stuff. He doesn't want to deal with it. I mean, hey, he has the ability to do that.
Hey, the last time I got a bunch of hate, I was talking about Day is Dead, and some people started trolling me, so I fucking hit him hard. Really started telling Day what I thought about her right live on air. I still stand by everything I said, by the way, because I know Grumpo, her ex-boyfriend, that she fucked over royally, and I went and let them all come. And I was reading their look. If somebody online I'm gonna stand by this till I die too. If somebody online you've never met can say something about you that even makes you feel anything, love. I'm going with love too, boys and girls. Tender, you fucking morons. Me and Mrs. Ogre, she's right. Tell them what you think about people meeting online. Is that fucking weird? What's wrong with you people? Weird. You don't know these people. They can't make you mad. They can't make you love. Grow up.
Well, I mean, I'm also going to stand by what I said, and you were being a prick at the time. But no, that's fine. We're free to disagree.
How come I get to miss all these outrageous streams? I feel a bad.
You don't stay up late enough.
Oh no! This is probably circa like 5 months ago or something like that. Don't worry. Hey, I mean, it still exists. The internet is forever. Rule number 2 of the internet.
Yeah,
So-
but I'm not interested in that in drama enough to go and try and research it at all.
What? Well, exactly,
I'm not saying
exactly.
about it, that's for sure.
I like how you brought.
Go on.
I was going to say I like how you brought up how when you got groups like or like outfits like YouTube gets together. Yes, it is a community to the whole thing. I like how you explained. I guess a good word would be sub community. The echo chambers that always form. And I always find it funny how there are repercussions to those echo chambers, to those sub communities that will kind of affect you without even noticing, if that makes sense. Where was this? A few months back, Will Wheaton decided to make a big deal about, oh, I'm getting ready to leave YouTube, or I'm getting ready to leave Twitter and all this. I went to look at his page, and I even realized that he was online to find out he blocked me.
Were you
I've
on
never-
a block list?
I don't know. I really don't know.
It's
I
all right. I am.
I'm
mentioned
blocked by
Pete
left
Dot.
and right alike. Like
I know
I
should
follow
know. We should know, but who's Will Wheaton before you go
Yeah.
on, sir?
Who's that?
Wesley Crusher from Star Trek.
He's big in the
Oh.
I'll look him, right? Maybe
he's big in like the greater gaming community.
on
And to be
Star
fair,
Trek.
he was on what was it? It was a Netflix original series as well. Basically like my life in like an RPG guild or something like an MMO, and it was actually a pretty good short, like 11 episode series. He was in that too.
Yeah, goofy looking.
See, maybe I show my own age again, or lack of certain geekness to a point. But as far as I'm concerned, Will Wheaton is always going to be Wesley Crusher.
Wesley Crusher.
Oh, carry on though. I didn't mean to
Shut up, Wesley.
Well,
Exactly.
yeah, no, that's the interesting thing, because like that's your particular reference point. I never really watched Star Trek that much. I'm sure I saw him on a couple episodes of Deep Space Nine, or maybe just in like a clip or something. I probably wasn't even in Deep Space Nine, so I probably don't know what the hell I'm talking about. But we all have different reference points for different things. And
Well, when it comes to cultural phenomena like that, all right, Will Wheaton is typecast. All right, there's no doubt about that. He is typecast as Wesley Crusher. People will see him. It's the same thing with Leonard Nimoy. He was typecast as Spock. All right.
Yes.
The only one who gets referred to by his actual name generally, in a lot of cases, is William Shatner, because he's done other things and actually escaped from being Captain Kirk, but he's still to a large extent Captain Kirk.
He's also Mike Myers.
Yes.
I'd kind of actually disagree with you on that as far as Star Trek goes, because Patrick Stewart is a classical actor as well. I mean, the man was Captain.
I don't disagree with you there. What I was referring to is just strictly how it got typecast, and I was using other Star Trek references. There's other people get typecast as well. Don't get me wrong. It's just that the most common reference that I draw on are Star Trek, because I remember it from those days.
And I'll tell you what, the first Star Trek, man, let's face it, you hit the nail on the head. I think the only one, I mean, Allura, all of them. You still got the chink there. What's his name? He's still running a faggot chink. He's still running around, and you still think of him as Hulu or whatever the hell he was.
George Takei.
Yeah, George Takei. That's right. Sorry.
oh, dude, he's the dude that does those funny little sound bits and stuff that people clip. Oh,
yeah. Funny queer, I tell you.
Yeah, it goes on Howard Stern a lot, or at least used to.
Oh, guys, a wild cabbage has appeared. I have the candy.
Yeah, how's it going, mate?
Oh, it's going, man. It's going. We're just doing a little bit about banter.
Yeah.
You hear the fear. You hear the fear in his eyes. You hear the fear in his voice. Oh God, Cabbage is here. Now what?
Hey, we were just talking about some homosexual chinks, Cabby. What do you think about that?
Homosexual chinks.
Yeah,
What,
like
you
the
mean Chinese
slopes.
Mr. Ogre is launching some unnecessary ad homs against a very successful individual, but that's all right because it's the internet and we can.
No. So now that he said that, what do you think about it, Cabby?
I don't know. I didn't know. I mean, queer Orientals has never really been a particular study of mine.
Well, I definitely.
He's talking about George Takei.
Oh right, yeah. Well, he's definitely gay. Yeah.
He's definitely Oriental and he's definitely homosexual. Okay, great.
Yeah.
What have we learned here? I have no idea.
We're making progress.
Well, I'd say anyone that just tuned in right now would be whoever is that random car individual is obviously very racist.
Right, but the one thing I will say is George Takei is I've read some of his science fiction books actually, and I also remember him from Green Berets.
Yeah, but didn't he get? Wasn't it a few years ago? There was something about him. Something happened.
Well, what are you referring to, Cabby?
I don't know. I'm trying to drag it out of my mind. There was something that he got back into the the media about. There's obviously some expose or something that was specific.
He was accused of being a pedophile of
that was
going after underage children.
There we go. So Oriental gay pedophile. I mean, we've got to move the conversation forward.
Hey, we'll tell you what. When it comes to Star Trek and George Takei, you got to at least admit one little thing. When it comes to the original Star Trek,
trailer hits.
And I'd lay money the fucker's a furry as well.
Well, hey! Let's not hate on the furry brethren out there. And these are allegations. We live in a country of due process. Maybe Cabbage doesn't, but hey.
Hey, shut up, man! Cut off Pumpkin. He's a truck driver. Damn it, let him through.
The due process for a furry is to ignite them.
Yeah, that's where
they're usually not fiery.
Is it bad that from the way you pronounce that over the internet, I heard Jew process?
He did. That's what he said.
Oh, that is what he said. Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, you go your way, I'll go your way.
Hey, I'm not into that racism shit. I'll just leave.
That's fine.
What were you saying, Pumpkin Trucker?
I was saying, just remember one thing. When it boils down to it, Star Trek, in the original Star Trek, they did let the Asian guy drive.
That's true. No wonder there were always fucking accidents. Good point.
And don't forget, they put Uhura in front of that giant screen, and she never yelled at it.
Wait, so what you're saying is she's better than us?
That let an Asian drive. That was good.
I don't know. Go watch it. Go see a movie in like downtown DC and see how many people are yelling at the screen.
Hey, Pumpkin Trucker, when's the last time you were in Palo Alto? Have you ever driven out that way?
Oh God, I haven't been in Palo Alto in 10 years.
But you've been there. Okay, so when's the last time you've been in, let's say, Queens, where the big old, Walmart thing is?
Mostly Mexicans, though.
Well, let me make it simpler before I confuse everybody. Have you driven in the cities in the smallish cities in California and in New York City both?
Yes.
Which
I have
is
delivered
worse?
The Bronx.
I can't.
I would
the Bronx.
I've delivered to the Bronx a few times. Yeah. Never feared for my life more than there.
Well, I can't argue about the Bronx. All I'm saying, I would say this then. I would say that the cities, the smallish cities in California are fucking difficult. The drivers suck. They're unreal. And New York City is not that bad. I heard truck drivers say they ripped the page out of the book. Hell, man, I put 2 pages in mine and got all the money from that town. Anyway, go ahead. So you don't never drive to what are you sorry boys.
Dedicated.
Man, it's hard. Yeah.
I'm on. Yeah, about 6 months ago, I got on a dedicated run where I leave out of Charlottesville, Virginia, and go up to Philly every day.
Yeah, we don't want to dox you, but so you did go from Charlottesville. Like, just say the state to state. Don't say the town.
Okay, Virginia to Philly.
Oh,
Well,
man,
that's
you're in
not
there,
bad.
baby. That's fucking beautiful. What, just there and back a day, or like 2 trips a day?
Nope, there and back every day, 550 miles paid.
Nice.
Man, that's fucking
That's
gravy
a
train.
nice run.
I like it.
And we just, Mrs. Ogre just pulled up
I
the
was just
cab
checking out your
on that
truck.
freight shaker. I tell you what, they can mock freight shakers all you want. Miss Ogre's right here. I ain't making it up. We had a W900 Kenworth that is like a Cadillac, but you know what? There ain't nothing wrong with them Freightliners, and they run well. They're put together
very
good.
dependable.
Good trucks.
Oh yeah. Well, there's such an abundance of parts.
Right.
Right, yes.
No, but that's because all the lines like Western Express buy them, and then them idiots drive them off in a ditch, and they put them in the boneyard, and you buy the engines and shit out of it. That's why.
There you
JB Hunt, they had all that shit. Freight shaker.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry. Well, that's it, boys. The truck driving up. I'm going to bed. Night, Mrs. Ogre.
Shiny side up, brother. Shiny side up.
I ain't going nowhere. I'm just going to try to quit derailing the fucking stream.
Oh, it's all right. No, we've already done that. It's if you ever had paid attention to the first 5 minutes of the How to Save the World stream, that got derailed in like 4 minutes and 52 seconds.
Well, I ain't going to try to bust your balls, but it was a little boring in the very beginning. Like, I didn't hear MCJK yell for 10 minutes. That's why Miss Ogre was like, let me on there.
Hey! The very beginning of this stream, it was weird. It was like an out-of-body experience because I'm asking about banter and why folks are freaking out, and MC is calmly explaining to me, "Well, people have different experiences. They come from I'm like, holy shit! It's like listening to myself.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it myself. I tell you, I couldn't believe it. We thought we were in a
Did I ever say anything that I like trucks or I like watermelon or I like dishwater? Or George Takei.
Wait, hold on. Are you saying you don't like trucks and watermelon? No. And like the whole impetus for the stream was just I happened to go back over last evening and this morning, and I just listened to a couple hours of the artist formerly known as the Internet Aristocrat, and I'm just listening and getting kind of like the whole history of Gamergate because I was gaming while Gamergate was going on, so I mean obviously didn't care. I just got a little history, and I'm like, huh, this is very interesting how things have played out.
Is the Aristocrat a real person, or do you mean somebody that is that an illusion?
Jim.
Huh?
Jim.
Well,
Mr.
Medica. Yeah, Medica.
Oh.
His old account.
Huh?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
it was
go on.
it's one of the many accounts that he's had deleted.
Oh, thank God. That guy's a scab on the ass of humanity.
Well, Jim can be a dick, but he's
when
honest
someone
about being a
finds
dick.
out what's in his closet, like he likes to mock people, I'm gonna tell you what, man. People that live, all I'll say is, you live by the sword, you die by the sword. And his day is coming. I don't know who'll do it to him, but I feel bad for him already.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, that's why he was freaking out recently because there was the accusation he was getting that he'd been doxxed. Because there's all this other doxing stuff, and he was.
Oh, when you find out who he is, he's probably, who knows, man? Who knows, Scabby?
But apparently he was But he's apparently left several different fake trails. So apparently this is one of the dead ends. But that's the whole point, right? People remember, okay, that's a dead end. How many? All you got to do is go one by one through them.
Well, first of all, why would you want to go? What is it that makes you want to go dox the individual? Once again, there's very few, standardized rules when it comes to this form of communication that we have, and one of those is don't dox.
It's etiquette. Well, I mean, I don't know. If I found out someone was an active paedophile, I would definitely fucking dox that person. I mean, I would be sending that to the police.
No, okay.
You know what I mean?
I understand that, but you're not doxing them with the intent. You're doxing them with hopefully not with the intent to harm them, but to protect children. All right.
Well, yeah.
Well, is that a dox?
No,
or
but actually, also
you would go to like the authorities if all of a sudden you knew someone was harming somebody.
Well, yeah, but I'd also let other people know because you don't know who he's interacting with on the net, right? So you need to let people know that what that guy is. But you got to have you got to have fucking good quality information to make that accusation.
You better have found him on Pornhub or something.
Oh yeah, I mean,
wait.
Seriously.
So what you're saying
that is not something that you throw around.
You shouldn't take some random potentially doctored screenshots from Instagram as evidence then.
Don't do that, man.
No, exactly.
Okay, just checking.
No, I think Cabby means
no,
if
no.
you like saw them fondly. I know Cabbage too well, so let me speak for a minute, Cabbage. What Cabbage meant is if he knew, not if somebody showed him a screenshot, but if he knew that he'd do that. And but that's hard to even say because then you do get morons. I just heard about that. Who did that? Somebody did that to Worski. I like Worski, man. He's a rabble rouser, but I just do like the guy.
He's going through a meltdown, mate.
Well, but that does create another dynamic that happens on this internet, which is okay. You know, you guys generally know how old I am because I've said it several times. Right?
95. What was it?
I'm 55.
Oh.
But you don't necessarily know who's on the other end, right? Several times I've been surprised when somebody gets on and they say that they're 17 or 16, and I'm like, oh, okay, why are you on this stream? And I'm not complaining necessarily, but I can see when people are doing this kind of, bouncy type of content, for lack of a better term, the PewDiePie type of content, right? I can see where Andy Worski, could easily end up talking to people and him not even realizing that the people he's dealing with are, underage.
Well, it's possible, I suppose. But that's the accusation. These are the accusations that are being thrown at Medica at the moment, that he's got this, sweetie squad, the kind of shit that they're pumping out about him. And I'm sorry, but unless you've got absolute fucking information.
Right. And that's my point.
That's not why I said it was a cab on the ass of humanity, folks, either. I've not heard that about Mr. Medica. I just watched some of his earlier videos and I saw that.
It's the snide commentary coming from Sargon. I think Sargon's made that accusation more than anyone else.
He has. Well, because and you know why? All because fucking Sargon couldn't take a fucking joke about a suit. Jesus.
Well, not just that, but hi guys, by the way. Not just that.
Hey, buddy.
That craziness that happened with the Ralph retort and Sargon was fucking ridiculous. Oh yeah,
it was, yeah.
Yeah, like it's funny that somebody got deplatformed. Oh, it's funny that your kid died. Really, guys? Are you fucking kidding me?
Oh yeah, that was bang out of order.
No, like my big thing about it is, it's just, all right, you don't feed a mogwai after midnight, and you don't feed the trolls on the internet. Mm-hmm. Like, if you've been on it for any period of time, I mean, I think many folks know that. But people do it anyway.
Yeah, but Sargon really thought he could put his dick in a hornet's nest. He ought to have known. I mean, he knew who he was, who he was going up against. I mean, for God's sake. He's not stupid, and so he knew that it was going to have repercussions in the same way as
he was creating drama to quote unquote keep his name in it. All right, more than anything else, to keep himself current, and people want to. That's what I think he felt like he needed to be current and needs to keep up with the Joneses and keep his name on people's lips and people talking about him, and I think that's what he was looking at, and he doesn't mind to be the villain.
He's taking a page out of POTUS's book and just pissing off all different groups of people.
Hey, I got $50 for anybody that wants to take it that says Sargon will outlast Mr. Medica. Anybody? We got a bunch of witnesses. $50. There's no time limit on it. I'm just saying that Sargon will be around a lot longer than Mr. Medica.
I think Sargon could be heading towards a big crash and burn, because if he plays this shit with Mr. Medica and he's going out and he's doing this UKIP stuff and everything else, no, I can see him getting struck down by, a lot of people.
Well,
I don't know. Well, no, the thing is, as long as he keeps Medica off his channel and he only joins Medica's channel, then any shit that happens will be on Medica's channel. So that won't be the one that gets shut down. Or, I mean, obviously, Ralph already has.
Well, the question is going to be, at that point, all right, if is the EU or is the government of the UK going to take action against him, right? I mean, that's really what you're asking for. That's really what you're saying.
That's not what I'm asking for. I wouldn't want that at all. No.
Well, I used the wrong term. You're right. I mean, but that's what you're more or less saying. That's what you're indicating.
No, I'm thinking that there are a lot of UKIP people who really don't like Sargon. They don't like the idea of the party being associated with him because of all his silly fucking antics. You know, they don't want their party to, you know, for him to be a standard bearer. They really don't, honestly. Did you not see him getting interviewed by one of the UKIP members? And this guy just tore him a new arsehole. I mean, it was embarrassing.
Well, he's basically more of like a youth outreach individual, because I think he did like one of those like UKIP youth conferences and stuff. I think they're just kind of like keeping him stick to just doing that as far as party politics go.
But that's what I mean. It was one of the young members of the party that absolutely tore him apart. I mean, it was like someone who was in their early 20s.
Manchurian struggle.
Well, and he's meant to be, you know, big brain and all that, and he got torn apart by someone who was still at university, I think.
For fuck's sake, Cabbage, how many goddamn fucking parties do you Europeans have? UK people?
Honestly, it gets weirder every day. I mean, that's all. Actually, we're not as bad as, say, Germany or the Netherlands, or I mean, you look at them.
The Netherlands actually has the internet.
I'd like to thank you for your patronage.
Did you guys see the outrage because Donald Trump happened to give Putin a nod and a smile?
Oh yeah.
Well, not in the wink and in the world.
That's some good news.
Orange man bad. Orange man bad.
Oh well, memes. They got the Orange Man bad into it because he didn't go out to the memorial because it was raining or something. That's what they claimed his reasoning was, right? So they still managed to get the little dick punch in.
Well, yeah, no, they did that, and then I did see some pictures of President Obama speaking in the rain that seemed to go along with that as well. I mean, I typically
God memes.
Well, see, I would typically think that it would be due to the Secret Service saying it's too dangerous to fly you here for this, Mr. President. Maybe I'm wrong.
You know, I know you love.
Well, that's what I mean.
You love Jesus Christ Himself. You're a heathen, man. To you, He's the Messiah come again.
Well, to be fair, I am a terrible Jew.
When in reality, he is Damien.
You know,
Trump is Damien.
I mentioned before he even went on that stupid trip to France. I mentioned that he shouldn't necessarily go.
Yeah.
Right. I understand. I understand that, you know, some of the things and stuff. I think that he would have been better served staying here and laying the wreath. All right, and going on. Now I realize that he's already done that, and he looks at it as possibly as been there, done that. All right, moving on. But there's certain things that I think he should have at least respected here, and he should have. Now, granted, he's probably doing this also to poke the media. All right, but at the same time, there's certain things that will have an effect on the nation. All right, if you love the nation as much as you claim to love the nation, then you should honor. All right, the war dead. You should honor. All right, you should be there for Veterans Day. We don't have a lot of Veterans Days. We only have one a year. We don't have a lot of other types of Memorial Days. We don't memorialize the end of the Vietnam War. That's all part of rolled into Veterans Day. We don't memorialize the end of World War II. That's all, you know, rolled into Veterans Day. And I really think that the president should have been more cognizant of that than he obviously is. I realize I realize that he's not he hasn't been in the military and he doesn't understand it from my perspective. Right. And I'm not one of these people who's going to jump up and down and say that he's disrespecting anybody. All right. But at the same time, yeah, he should have been there. He should have gone.
He said he should have been more thoughtful about what was going on. He said he should have been more cognizant, which just means thoughtful. No, you're right. Absolutely right.
Yeah, but don't you have VJ Day as well?
No.
No, we have.
Right, that's all you did.
I'd explained to some Englishmen yesterday. Veterans Day, that covers us all the way back to when we kicked you bloody Brits' ass. And we still have people.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry, but it wasn't. No,
war on that day.
I told you
In
repeatedly.
America, we got families that go visit graves from that
Yeah.
war and put roses on them or whatever. Yeah.
Well, I educated you enough times
right.
that was actually a civil war. It was us kicking us because it was the British kicking the Brits.
Yeah,
and then or actually kicking the Germans.
I'm just being a dick. You're the only Brit here. I had to be a dick to you, man.
So we were kicking our own ass.
Well, they were all Brit. We were all British.
That reminds me of the episode in I Love Lucy where Ricky goes to Lucy. He's like, "I'm going to sue myself for everything I'm worth." He was mad at Lucy.
Well, I mean, all this stuff about Trump at the commemoration day. It's not like he went over to Japan and started, rocking it in Hiroshima or something.
Well, that could be problematic for many.
Hiroshima, we're back, motherfuckers!
What the hell was that?
Was
that a cabbage?
Bad bitches. Here comes little boy number 2.
I think I feel like the common sense guy now. This must be what he feels like. Oh dear.
That made my day right there.
Go out with a strobe light. Remember this flash?
Oh god. We're all going to hell. We just boarded the bullet train and we're on like, oh god.
Does this look familiar?
Well, I don't know. Am I having regrets now for starting the stream? Possibly, but I thought it was important.
You wanted the Bants. You got them.
Well, sometimes you get what you ask for. This is very true. But, and again, perhaps I should have been more focused. It's just kind of like the hypocrisy you see. And like, I get it. Folks will change and stuff like that. But it's like, I don't know, just the sheer irony, because I remember going back and it's like, okay, you're saying a lot of not so nice things against folks that really weren't even looking at it engaging. And you're a person that is engaging. So if one is going to engage, one should be able to expect it to be engaged back. It's kind of like if you're playing a video game and you got like a whole bunch of NPCs or monsters or mobs going around, some will just naturally be aggressive. If they see you anywhere on screen, they're coming right for you. Others are more neutral. They're just kind of just sitting around, and if you attack them, they will attack you back. And some of them are badass and will stomp your ass. It's just... exactly.
Some of them are these.
My apologies to the NPCs.
That you would generalize NPCs like that is very offensive.
Yeah, and some of the NPCs are little old ladies that are pretending to be suffragettes.
And you fucking drag them on a horse, you cocksuckers are.
We are terrible people. Well, no, we're going into. Hey, I'm just basing this off of my year lost to World of Warcraft for far too long.
I'm just basing this off the conversations that we have with you, where you just sit up there and just keep going like the lady, and as the abuse keeps piling onto you, you just keep taking it until you rode off into the sunset and tossed it in the gator's mouth.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's because I heard many folks within this quote-unquote community saying that we shouldn't care about mean words said about us on the internet.
No.
So basically, now you're upset because somebody isn't emulating you.
Oh.
Is that what you're trying to say, Memes?
Wait, what
I feel very conceited right now. Thanks, MC.
Good, you should.
Is this particular community? Because nobody here is skeptic. We're a bunch of assholes. What are we, the asshole group?
Could we not be assholes and skeptics?
No, we're not.
I'm skeptical of your asshole status.
No, are you sure? You seemed very, very definite on it the other day.
No, I said a twat. That's very different.
I seem to remember there was 5 to 10 minutes of banter about shoving everything from Libya to Noah's Ark up my butt.
That's true. And surprisingly, it all fit.
Hey, what part didn't go in? What part didn't you accept?
Well, apparently we can do that because we're on the internet.
Yeah. You are a different kind of lefty, Memes. I got to give it to you. And you are the only lefty in the group that I know of. I don't really know Uncle Trucker. But you're the only lefty in the group, and you're always here. I love you, man.
Well, maybe folks are fearful about coming out, about their more leftnish. They're afraid about getting hammered down, the reaction of the folks around them, that maybe they'll be hated on for who they are.
Wow.
You know, for who you are, just what you believe.
Yeah, no, and don't get me wrong. If Punk and Chuck or anybody else, I'm just being a dick, Punk and Chucker. If you're a lefty commie, we like commies. We just don't want to give you our essence.
Yes. That's right. Look, we need pure grain alcohol and still water.
Oh, dude, guy at work, dude. Some apple pie moonshine.
Apple pie moonshine. What the fuck is apple pie moonshine?
Dude, you can get it in a jar.
Rainwater.
Well, yeah, most moonshine comes in a jar.
You can get it in a gallon jug.
Why do Americans drink out of jars? You Philistines.
Because we're a bunch of heathens, Cabbage.
Yeah, what's wrong with the glass?
It's a nostalgia thing.
It wasn't clean. It didn't come out of the dishwasher yet. I hadn't put it in. I mean, there's lots of reasons why we drink out of jars.
Because you can store and drink out of it.
No, but Cabbage, I agree with you. He's saying you can at least pour it into a fucking glass. I agree, man. You're a Philistine if you drink it out of a fucking jug.
Damn right.
All right, call me a Philistine.
You're a Philistine. I mean, I'm a drunkard. You're not. And I'm telling you as a drunkard, if you pull out of the fucking jug, you're a Philistine. Get a fucking glass, man.
Mm-hmm. See, you got to have standards. Or a goblet. I mean, if you really want to go,
go come full circle, haven't we?
Well, can it be in a mug? A jar is a hybrid between a glass and a mug. It is a mug made out of glass.
There you go. So you're drinking out of a mutant.
No, it's a hybrid. What's wrong with hybrids?
Cabbage, that's half the point. Is we used to run moonshine, and we ran moonshine. It was usually in mason jars. So that's why a lot of people still put them in.
Yeah, I understand that, but why be so lazy that you've got it in the mason jar? Why not just pour some of it? Because you're not drinking the whole fucking thing in one.
All right,
speak for yourself.
Come out into a glass. See?
Hey,
I say it's obviously just a difference, and it's cultural.
Hey! Unfortunately, we are still not part of the UK, so we're not sitting there with our.
What do you mean? Unfortunately, we're not part of the
UK.
You interjected before my thought was complete. We don't have that flask of cognac and our fancy Chambord glasses within our trade. I'm being
from Boston. Never really left.
I probably shouldn't be taking, as somebody that's never served, I shouldn't be taking the piss out of the UK military. That was disrespectful. My apologies.
That was apologizing for winning the war. Is there
we have
you want to apologize for?
No, I'm apologizing for us not having fancy wine glasses and stuff.
Apologize.
Hey, on the battlefield, you use goblets, not wine glasses, you fool.
See, I can tell you right now, he has a hell of a lot more French in him than he does English.
Who?
Memes has a hell of a lot more French in him than he does English.
What? I didn't know I was French.
The way you surrender, you better be.
Did I say I was surrendering? I was just apologizing.
Everything. I gotta apologize. I'm so sorry about everything.
Hey! Hey! A wise man once said, "Be quick to say you're sorry."
And you know what? I bet you ended up. And I bet he said the last words on his fucking mouth were, "I'm sorry, I fucking gave that advice."
Well, you gonna defend your boy there, Memes? Or Ogre? You gonna defend your boy? I mean,
one would have to ask the man himself, or we could pitch it again to the crustacean community.
Seance. We need a seance.
Wait, dude, has anyone done like a Google seance or something? We grab like a Ouija board or something like that. I'm sure Emma's got one.
No.
Fucking leaving, man. You fucking devil worshiping heathen.
we found Ogre's limits.
Dude.
Hey, don't hate on devil dogs. They're delicious high fructose treats.
No, those are good. I even like deviled ham, but I'm not like talking to the devil with some kind of witchy board.
Oh, dude, deviled eggs.
No, but come on, Ogre, you know that the Ouija board was originally created as a game. It wasn't even intended for what it got, it got turned into through Hollywood. It was, it wasn't it originally. I mean, what was it? What's the Hasbro game? You know?
Yeah, and it's bullshit anyway, Cabby. I got it.
Exactly. I mean, so it'd be a bit of fun, though. You know
what? Every time I play with the Ouija board twice. Here's a funny thing. I don't spell very well, and it just was coincidentally I was playing with some low-life morons that were all my family. None of them spelled well. Guess what? Coincidentally, the Ouija board couldn't spell shit that night.
Well, maybe you just connected to someone who was dyslexic.
Yeah, coincidentally, all fucking 5 of us, the spirit and us 4 morons.
May I ask how much everyone had to drink? Because maybe by the plasma-based connection, you were getting the spirit hammered.
All right, whatever.
Maybe those are the types of spirits you attract.
Maybe
the Okies from Finoki.
Oh wait, so the only spirits they were attracting were full of booze.
All right, so
they're coming to see me. I don't know.
And me, Ogre, and I don't know how old Pumpkin Drunker is, but me, Ogre, and Cabbage, we all grew up in the Satanic Panic era.
Yeah.
That shit was fucking crazy, man.
That was stupid crazy. Almost like the witch trial shit, to be honest.
It was. Well, I mean, when you look at it, when there was the bullshit about playing the records
like
and everything.
Almost like the witch trials. Can you tell me somebody who was actually negatively affected by it?
Yeah, Dee Snider.
Who?
Dee Snider from Twisted Sister.
Wait, they burned him at the stake?
Shit put on his records, which, by the way, backfired on them dumb witch hunting bastards.
Then he wasn't negatively affected, was he?
Also, Frank Zappa, who was a teetotaler. Most people would think he was a drug addict. You're morons. You don't know Frank Zappa like I do. He was such a teetotaler. He wouldn't go on Saturday Night Live because the cocksuckers wouldn't not smoke marijuana for one. And I'm a pot smoker. Look, if I could have Frank Zappa come, God rest his soul, come visit me, but I couldn't smoke pot, I wouldn't even mention pot. I'd be like Mr. Zappa. I mean, he was a guitar god, and he was to make a long story short, I don't know what I'm talking about.
So what you're saying is you would give up smoking pot, and as soon as his ghost appeared, you'd hand the ghost a joint, and you would both hit joints at the simultaneous time to try to resurrect him.
Oh, man, I'm not even going to... No, I wasn't kidding. I'm not even going to defame him. He wouldn't do that. He did not. But there's another that was affected by that, MC. There was a lot. And you know what was affected the most? Hang on, wait 1 second, and then tell me, because this is serious. What was affected the most was the people they were trying to protect were actually damaged more. Because what do? If you wanted kids to do drugs, have a war on drugs. Tell them it sucks. If you don't want kids to do drugs, do what Portugal did. Let people shoot heroin in public.
When you talk about a war on drugs, you're not seeing a war on drugs. But I'm not going to argue that point at this point.
No, but
the reality is that Frank Zappa wasn't financially harmed in any way, shape, or form. Culturally, he wasn't harmed. In fact, his name got spread far and wide. Now, he had other issues that drove that, like naming your kid Dweezil and naming your freaking girl Moon Unit. Had more to do with the negative publicity that Frank Zappa got than the quote-unquote satanic panic did.
Well, that's a personal choice.
And good point that he was a weirdo, but he did not do drugs, and he was affected because he was maligned. I look at it different than you do, MC. I look at it this way. If I'm not affected at all monetarily...
No, I listen to you guys. The reason I brought this up...
Yeah, I disagree with you.
Hold on. You can disagree with me, but wait for my point. There's a difference between the kind of quote unquote satanic panic and how quote unquote bad it was, and then you're going to compare that to people's lives who were destroyed, all right, during the Red Scare. It's not the same. The degree isn't even close.
Oh no, it's not the
people
same.
That were. But that's what everyone in this era always compares it to, and they say that this was the same thing. It was the moral panic. No,
give me something better to compare it to, please, because you're right. That's a foolish thing.
Yeah,
give me something better to compare.
I would compare it to the days. Well, I mean, the original days of rock and roll, where parents were saying that this music was it was damaging the you know the
It did.
well,
It has. Look at our society.
well, yeah.
It's
Well, wait. You don't think that heavy
ruined
metal and
Elvis
thrash
Presley and
metal?
Bill Haley in the comments ruined our fucking society, man.
Hey,
I think
don't go
Bill
to
Haley's
King.
pushing it.
I
I'm
still don't see.
rock.
I agree with you 100% there, Cabbage. That is a better comparison because that is exactly what happened. Elvis Presley was always as popular as he was. The Beatles remained as popular as they were. All right, there were people that spoke out against this, but overall, was this really the kind of witch hunt that people claimed it to be? And the answer is no.
Well, MC, you can claim that they didn't lose financially out of this thing, right? But if you're looking at what is
that they expanded themselves financially.
What is the usual purchasing of pop music, popular music? Well, what is the age range? It's usually younger people. Younger people depend on their parents to buy them stuff. If their parents refuse to buy them anything, then they have been directly damaged by it. If the parents have been influenced.
But that was what I'm trying to point out is that the number of albums that were sold by the Beatles, all right, that weren't sold, they got more they sold more than they would have been because of the publicity that it gained.
Wait a second. So you're saying no publicity is bad publicity?
No, there is such a thing as bad publicity, but in some cases, all right, notoriety in certain circles, it's being overblown. The idea, what I'm trying to say is that the idea of the satanic panic being this grand and huge witch hunt, and it was going sweeping across the nation. That concept of it is way oversold.
And
it was never as big as you guys thought it was or are claiming it was today. You just can't find it like that.
You see, we didn't really have it over here because we had the Hammer House of horror movies and things like that, and parents used to let us watch those. They didn't care. It's just like, it's just silly shit.
Hold on. Trucker, Pumpkin Trucker had something to say.
Oh, I'm waiting for you.
I did.
Oh, I thought you were saying something. Sorry, my bad.
Well, I'll tell you what.
Your powers
went ahead and
weak.
mentioned me.
Night, guys.
Take care.
Bye.
I tried, boys. I set the microphone right by her, but she just she thinks we're all cool. I think. I'm pretty sure she thinks.
What do you mean? I know Mrs. Mean. She knows I'm all right. We had a good chat. I've had her laughing herself into
Wait.
Mrs. Memes, you cocksucker. What the fuck's wrong with you?
Well, actually, the funny thing is, Cabbage, they are both beautiful young ladies. And there may be other connections as well.
You near my old lady, you motherfucker. I cut both your hands off and stuff them up your fucking ass along with Cabbage Patch's other shit he put up there earlier.
Okay. No, we're not like Russian dolls. You don't just keep stuffing more and more of them in.
I'm only kidding anyway. Let me turn my microphone back down.
Nesting dragons.
Wait, what? Oh God, a wild Dargon has appeared. Hey, Cryptic.
All right.
Anyway, what were you saying?
Hey, Vash.
How's it going, Chubby?
Not too bad, mate. Long time no see.
Yeah.
Just doing a little man backer. Oh, go ahead, bud.
Very English, testing the waters.
Wait.
Oh, hey, how long are you going to do this, Memes? What do you got in there? How long are you going?
Well, we got Mr. Pumpkin Trucker. I don't think Matt's doing the red eye tonight, so we can go on for a bit longer.
I would like to hear more from the Pumpkin Trucker, but you just got a new dude in. I'm going to actually, right now, I'm going to actively try to shut the fuck up for a while.
Oh, I mean, what's exactly been going down?
We the general ethos is
homosexual chinks.
So aside from the ad homs and racism, we've been banting about Banter, about how if you go back several years in the greater YouTube communities, certain folks, the general ethos was, one shouldn't care about mean words said on the internet. Circa 2018, now it seems like many of these same folks seem to care about mean words said about them on the internet. So we'll go to Pumpkin Trucker first, and then we'll let Vash give his piece.
Okay.
Back to the mean word thing. Actually, I was going to mention something about that whole satanic panic back in the 80s. Yes, I was old enough to remember that, or yes, I am old enough to remember that. I will say one thing, as far as the Satanic Panic goes, if it wasn't, it didn't really hurt people all that much, or at all, really.
It just
If it
scared
was
the shit out of a bunch of people.
the
Well, you
adult,
know what it was? It was the Satanic Bible that really made the issue. You know, that fucking came out of California, didn't it? So, big surprise.
yeah. Well, if it wasn't for the Satanic Panic, hell, take Bruce Dickinson of all people. Okay, Iron Maiden. I wouldn't have known. I wouldn't have known how much of a badass that man was. I wouldn't know that he was a shot for the Olympic fencing team. I wouldn't know. I wouldn't have known that he actually flew the entire band around on his plane. I wouldn't have known that he was such a badass when he was a boy. He got kicked out of school for pissing in the headmaster's soup. Yeah, all stuff that is.
That's rock and roll.
Yeah,
What?
and when
He
Bruce
pissed
Dickinson
in-
he peed in his headmaster's soup.
Was it the entire pot or just his bowl?
I think it was just the bowl. But Bruce
Alright.
Dickinson, Bruce Dickinson from Iron Maiden, he was a total badass. And, you know, one of the things that came out of that whole mess against was that Mothers Against Harmful Music or something like that? One of the few things that ever actually happened was on FM radio, even to this day, to hear an Iron Maiden song, it has to be requested. They can't just say, "Here's the new song by Iron Maiden."
Really?
Yeah,
Is that true? Honestly, that's like an FCC regulation or something.
it wasn't. I don't think it was an FCC thing, but I mean, it got outlawed somehow. But I think Iron Maiden's the only. Well, Iron Maiden.
Well, Leonard Skinner was over here in the state that I'm in. They got outlawed for a little while, but then nobody really cared to enforce the fucking law.
Leonard Skinner? Are you serious?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a weird one.
Wait,
to
hold
ban.
on a second.
I mean, I know he's. Oh, yeah, but what? Were people committing suicide? Or
No,
something?
no.
Oh.
I used Sweet Home Alabama for a video intro I did back in high school. How do
Yeah.
you ban a little Sweet Home Alabama?
Yeah, I know. It's
Well,
weird.
nowadays it's because it's a Confederate thing.
Oh no, this
Racist.
was in the bubble of the Bible Belt, basically. So
Yes, statist.
Oh my God! What is happening to the world?
Well, this is you know why it's
Oh,
happening?
shit, bad.
Because there are fucking cunts like you who won't fucking take a stand and actually say, you know, enough's enough. You know, you want to say, well, I can see the other person's point of view and maybe, and you know, I don't have all the facts.
Cabbage, you obviously missed the first 10 minutes of the stream because I started becoming very irritated, and then MC calmly explained to me that people have different perspectives. They come from different backgrounds. I'm like, wow, is what it sounds like listening to me?
Yeah, but MC's just taking it. Yeah, but MC just took his meds, so he's got an excuse. for sure.
As a matter of fact, as a matter of fact, we were talking about something. We were saying that when we first started listening to
Shit,
stream,
thanks
it
for
was
reminding
so
me.
exciting that we
Shut up,
couldn't
Bird.
contain ourselves. That you had MCJK on it. It was so exciting, and that you now chose to go back to that same topic we were talking about in the start. Mrs. Ogre was shocked.
Hey, you
Because-
got to try to bring it
usually-
around. Got to give it at least 1.5 tries.
Well, I'm saying you suck because usually MCJK is dynamic, and it was obvious that you picked a topic that I don't know, and so you move on from there. Memes, you got to learn. You got to. I think all of you lefties are a little narrow-sighted.
Oh, that's
I
not
don't think
necessarily.
that-
Oh, go
I
on.
think he had a topic that he wanted to cover, and he wanted to cover it in a more or less serious manner, and I took it that way.
Mrs. Ogre, I don't appreciate that you forced me to say that to these people because I don't think they liked it.
Hey,
Well-
I had some angst and stuff going on, maybe for some folks, and rather than just going on a rant about the actual folks, I tried to talk about the principle, the idea, the ethos behind
The
it.
principle.
I
The
know,
nuance,
I know.
right? It's got to be about the nuance.
Wait, did you just say Ewoks? Don't hate on my furry little friends.
Yeah, you see, even more scary.
Hey, just because walkers weren't designed to repel against wood. isn't a
The
reason to bring it
nuance
up.
of inflammable fucking pervert.
yeah, I don't understand that about Star Wars. Like, how the fuck did they get overrun by the Ewoks with the advancement of technology that they had?
Hey, they had logs and rocks.
Well, you know why? You know why? Because people like memes were in the fucking control room going, well, we'll have to check with the HR department if and probably doing some fucking health and safety check.
There's an argument to be made that they're all lefties in the empire. There is an argument.
No, they are. They're total fucking commies.
Yes.
To be fair, a bunch of small teddy bears that were hitting people with spears and rocks.
See, it's we can't argue with you about it because you're like a Sith.
Well, there could only be two. And to be fair, I always thought the Empire was they were more of National Socialists.
And you know what else memes? I thought that lightsaber that Stray Sith Male has right now was so impractical. I mean, imagine if you wave it the wrong way, wouldn't you just cut yourself in bloody half?
Yep.
Well, that's the reason why you have to be an expert at using dual wielding before you go into that one. I've played Knights of the Old Republic a lot.
Oh, that was the same in Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. Have you ever tried using nunchucks? Don't play a game. Actually try doing it yourself. Break your nose.
Oh, you hurt yourself
I've
so
used
bad.
nunchucks.
I have
actually
put
kind of
myself
decent
in
with
the
them.
Oh.
You too?
At least 3 times, right in the nuts with a pair of nunchucks.
Oh yeah, you're gonna get racked in the nuts a few times before you get good.
Yeah, so imagine that with a lightsaber. I mean, it's not a fucking bris. You know what I mean?
So what you're saying is you need a cup made from palladium.
Yeah. Well, that's not the worst one either. The worst lightsaber, Straight Sith Male, is not yours. It's the one that the new guy uses, when he's fighting the girl. The one with the little lightsabers. I saw a guy do a thing on the internet where he put red paint on those things coming off to the side that are like the guards on the side.
Yeah,
and he was all red all over his wrist. He pretty much showed that you couldn't use that without cutting your own wrist off.
Well, no. If you watch the Nerdist, all right. Now, if a lightsaber, as hot as that thing is, it would instantly boil your blood and make you blow up.
Straight Sith Male, the biggest problem is you and I are the only people that know what the fuck the Nerdist channel is. That's my guess right now. Anybody else, the Nerdist?
I've seen it. I've seen it.
I've seen a couple videos.
I watched the one on the other side, dude.
That makes me feel much better then. Sorry.
Neil deGrasse Tyson, harnessing plasma and stuff like that. And how would we actually? Well, we need to have some cold fusion first, and we got to do this, and we got to kind of bend it and make sure. Could it be done? Maybe. Would it take a near infinite amount of energy in the future? Yes.
That was just my way of saying I like George Lucas better than the cocksuckers that do that shit now.
Yeah, no, not just that, boys. Stan Lee, Stan the Man, motherfucking American hero, died at 85 or 95.
95, yeah.
105.
Any advance at 105. Going, gone.
Excelsior. Hey, did anybody see his Razor Fist rant? He ended it that. He was like, Excelsior. I was like, yeah.
That's good.
Well, you gotta pay homage to the man.
He was great.
Yeah. I just now that he's gone, the Marvel and DC are going to probably eat themselves and implode within the next 5 to 10 years.
Well, I mean, yeah, but isn't this why during the the Infinity Wars that they killed off pretty much every major character that they have, so they can replace them with probably a new bunch. They want to refresh the portfolio with a bunch of new characters that they can make these hideous social justice.
Is it that you're trying to say that Stan Lee's last words were "I don't feel so good"?
Yeah, it could well have been, exactly. Maybe he was one of the victims.
Yeah, I'm having trouble breathing.
Delayed reaction.
I don't feel so good.
Hey, it's all right. It's all right.
Just one more.
Hey, we still have Ant-Man.
Oh, great. Yeah, that's good, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, thank goodness for that person.
Yeah. Hey, they were surprisingly good movies.
Yeah.
If
Is it wrong that I could have sworn that?
Last week, I just rewatched. I marathoned the first season of the original Spider-Man. The shitty one from 1977. And so it was so funny because I watched the whole thing, and man, the storylines. Jonah Jameson's bald. It's just crazy.
Parker.
And then he died. I feel like I killed him.
Oh, by the way, if you if one of the things has anybody seen the movie Spawn?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things that I think that they missed in casting, especially for the Spider-Man, is Martin Sheen whenever he was in Spawn.
Yeah.
Now, all you got to do is close your eyes and just listen to him talk in that movie, and you will instantly think about J. Jonah Jameson.
Yeah.
Kind of. I don't know. I really didn't like Martin Sheen in the Spawn movie. I thought it was
No.
garbage.
I'm thinking. I thought that he was ill placed for that movie. But
the guy that narrates Vash, what is his name? Key?
Richards.
From the grave. We're back to the Ouija board again.
No, what is that fucker's name though? But that guy is really, really good at narrating. Shut up, bird!
the guy that
the darky?
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about the guy
Morgan Freeman?
Shawshank Redemption.
Morgan Freeman.
Yes, Morgan Freeman. God damn it, Bird. I swear to God, I'm going to fucking turn you into a very expensive sandwich.
Oh.
Man,
Hi, Bird.
I'm sorry, I'm arguing with my parrot.
Just put a blanket over it. They get quiet with a blanket over them.
No, I think he's free range.
Interrupt people all the time. Let the bird go. It's fine.
No,
the bird's making too much noise.
Opinions.
Just fucking kill them.
No. The funny thing is, I'm pretty sure Cabbage has had birds because he knew exactly what to do, and this is one of the first. This is one of the first creatures that screamed out, and he didn't just say, "Let's murder it."
Well, I'll tell you what. Jensen Quinn tells me that everything that can talk tastes good. He swears people taste great. So I'm saying that maybe a parrot probably tastes like really good.
Yeah, a little bit of butter, some garlic, a few herbs.
Wait a second. So what you're saying is giraffes taste terrible?
Yeah, I'm wondering too. I don't see Jensen Quinn here. Does he know you have a channel? He's usually. It's probably.
I don't know. I don't know if that correlates, seeing as cows taste good, and so do
cows moo.
Well, we got used to cows. I mean, cows are all right.
You know what sound a cow makes? What sound does a giraffe make?
And besides that, I wasn't. What I'm saying is, Jensen Quinn has had cow and he's had people, and he's saying that people and parrots are much better, and that things that talk taste good.
Yeah, people are just like pork.
I'm not going to disagree with him. You talk to him about it. What? Yeah, what?
Just pork.
Yeah,
So,
pork. Long pig, right?
Yes. And when Jensen listens to this at some point, no, you cannot have a cult.
He's already got me a cabbie sounds like fuck stick.
No, that was when him, I, and Sharadi were talking about something, and all he took away is like, so I should start a cult. I'm like,
hey,
no.
Cabbie, we'll let Jensen Quinn bring the people. I'll bring the weed. You bring the wine. We'll have our own little cult, man. We'll do a little seance before whatever the Ouija board, like y'all was done before. I'll kind of lay my Christian shit aside for the night. We'll eat some people.
No, that's not how this works. That's not how any of this works. We just don't.
It's really
how would you know?
What?
How would you know?
Oh, have I been part of a cult?
Well, you said that's not how it works. I mean, please elucidate.
Oh no, you do all those things except you don't eat the people at the end.
No, and you don't know how it works.
No, you feed them poison Kool-Aid.
You're obviously not
we're
part
not
of
inviting me. No poison cupcakes.
Look, the Wicker Man was just a big barbecue.
Yes.
Wait, I thought it was burning man.
Yeah, it's like when you bury a potato in the embers. Same deal. You pick them out at the end. It's all nice and done.
Wait a second. Are you saying all those fish concerts are just that? Oh my God.
Mercy's sake.
Hey, that's all the Burning Man's leading up to. Y'all watch, man. That same place in like 50 years will be doing human sacrifice and be like, yeah, remember our roots when we just burnt like a fake guy? We're burning a real motherfucker this year.
For the most part, most of the people that go to the Burning Man concerts are tripping on shrooms and getting stoned. I don't think that you're going to really get them to be able to coordinate a cannibalization of a person.
Have you ever heard of the stoned ape theory, sir?
Well, I mean,
no. Have you
I
ever heard
personally
of
still no, but
okay.
I personally still don't believe that they're going to just go out of their way and go, you know what, man? What? Yeah, let's
So you've never done shrooms, have you?
people on fire.
So
No,
you've never done LSD or mushrooms, have you? Because I tell you, I've done both, and there has been times where, honest to God, now I've got to be honest with you and tell you, there are times where I've pondered weirder shit than that, but also, yes, eating human beings.
Well, we know you're married, so I mean that's fine. But no. See, Vash, that's why they banned bath salts.
Well, yeah. I mean, now I have to get my bath salts from some other person. You know, I really like Rico. You know,
I don't know.
He was a little bit bitey, but you know, he was an all right guy.
Wait, are you talking about your parrot or your friend, or both?
Oh, the one that was supplying me with bath salts, obviously.
Your parent supplied you with bath salts. Where'd you find this guy? Where can I get a parrot
magical
like that?
fucking parrot, man?
Wait, your parrot gets you bath salts?
Hell yeah!
Well, what's wrong with that? That's not surprising. I mean, they trade billions.
Lily, you're fucking fired, you dog. My dog don't get shit from me. Well, no, she gets shit from me all the time.
It's a
You
true.
heard about St. Bernards, you know, St. Bernards, they bring brandy, so why not a parrot bringing meth?
Yes.
Well, no, we all learned from.
No, it's classy. It's classy. It's bath salts. Jeez, Cabby.
Well, okay, sorry. I mean, I didn't want to downgrade your.
Well, you just did by saying meth. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Well, in the Hangover 2,
your face, and the other one makes you want to eat other people's faces.
Well, that's fair. And in the Hangover 2, that monkey was bringing people cocaine.
Yeah, see?
Lots and lots of cocaine.
So, Red Dragon, you've been to Burning Man?
No, but a couple of my relatives have been.
Oh, I was just curious. I've never been either. Anybody ever heard of Phil Hendry, the radio host Phil Hendry, MCJK? Anyway, never mind. Forget it. Nobody has. Forget it. Just move on. No one would get it. I'll just shut up. Oh, you unmuted. So you know who Phil Hendry is, MC, or no? Or were you going to say no?
I vaguely remember him, yes.
All right, well, it doesn't matter that he vaguely remember. He just made up funny shit, and he was like the progenitor of the crank call from the early 90s where he played several voices. And now no one would really get the reference.
One that I remember that's an old school voice.
Well, he would if I remember correctly, he's the guy who constantly would talk show and then basically call himself in and say this is so and so, right?
Yes. Yes.
Wait, Donald Trump?
Very popular with the MC. I kind of cut you off for that because that just get me out. So explain to the people, because he was very popular with military men too, because he would do what now? So in other words, you said he would call himself, right?
Right. He would portray that he was somebody calling in, like, I'm just going to throw a name out there, like Shaniqua from downtown, and he would
say Mavis Leonard,
that voice, or Billy Joe from down in the hood,
or the gay journalist and a gay man. Or how about
he had a whole
Bell. Hey, don't you remember this one, MCJK? Ted's of Beverly Hills Steakhouse. Come on down. We want to put our meat in your mouth. You don't remember that?
I don't remember that one, no.
Okay, anyway, listen, this guy was such a genius. And I tell you what, folks, the most important thing in life is kayfabe.
Oh, stop fucking wringing your hands.
See, I love MC. I love MC the sheer fact that you used the term Shaniqua, which was one of my friend's characters from a D&D campaign.
Shaniqua.
It was actually a half man, half tiger. He was like a were-tiger.
My character is a doppelganger rogue.
Oh, I like ogres.
No, doppelganger.
Oh, those are cool too.
Yeah. It was one of the only ways that I could keep Cantrip safe in 5th edition.
All right. Well, 5th edition. It's kind of like an out to go package, and I'm over a 3.5 guy myself. But
Yeah,
we're coming up on the 2 hour mark here, everybody. So I figure we'll start winding down over the next 10 minutes. So
Thank
anything
God.
else I know we got to get the fuck out of here. It's God. We're wasting server space, electricity, data. What the hell's wrong with us? We're
I'm
destroying the world.
I'm just bored of you all.
Thought this shit's gonna go on forever.
Well, don't make me start singing Lamb Chop.
No, but since he's such a faggot, I might have an after party if
But,
all right, I'll start it. Memes, Cabbage Patch, Mr. Ogre,
Yeah.
Vash, motherfucking Pumpkin Trucker. You guys are all awesome, and it's great hanging out with you. And we will see you in the next couple days.
Hey, later on, Straight to the Mail, you rock. Thanks for your patronage.
Get the fuck out.
Take care, man. Be happy,
brother. All right, brother. So, did we have any final words on the topic of banter and everything like that?
The only thing I got to say,
I got some final words, but I don't want to be interrupted. I want to be given my time.
Let's do it one at a time. We'll go first with Mr. Pumpkin Trucker because he may or may not still be on the road.
Oh, I'm still on the road. I've been here all day. Hello. There we go.
Yep.
I've just got one thing to say. Whoever the hell just mentioned lamb chop, thanks a lot. I'm going to have that going through my head all fucking night now.
You're welcome.
This is the song that doesn't end. Later.
Cabbage, what are your thoughts on banter and dance and all that jazz?
You don't know how to do it, and I wish you all the best.
Oh, I thank you. Very encouraging words there. Mr. Vash, would you kindly share your wisdom with us?
Whenever it comes to banter, personally, I personally don't care whenever people are, attacking other people personally. But in all reality, whenever it comes to like trying to get your point across or trying to sway the other person to think the way that you do, then the moment that you attack them personally is the moment that they go on defense, and you're not going to change their opinion at all. But in the end, we've gotten way too fucking sensitive, or at least
Yeah, but you see, Vash, that's the problem. You see, there's your catch-22. In order to talk to them, you have to adopt their way of doing things in order to do it. So therefore, you're going to be becoming. It's kind of like a cancer. You get it contracted. You're having to adopt the very thing that you're trying to prevent.
So you don't have no rules with your final words, Amy?
I did not specify. We can.
But I was just going to wrap it up on that. It's just
sorry.
It's just that's pretty much what I just needed to say about banter. It's always fun to have, but it's one of those things that like it can get out of hand.
Right on. Thank you, sir. And Mr. Ogre, I know you've been stewing a little bit. You got some words of wisdom to impart with the group.
I was just saying to Mrs. Ogre, it'd be interesting to see which way you go because I have seniority over his MC, but you had him on the stream.
That is true. That is true. And I did not want to pay preferences. So
I don't want to be interrupted. So I'll just wrap up this way. I want to say that in every man's life, they have a choice.
Oh, God.
Some
the hand wringing.
Say, I want to give up. I want to surrender. I want to let someone else take care of me. They could be a lard ass like me that looks at a patch of ground with a bit of grass on top and has nothing but a rototiller to break said ground, and he perseveres. Or you may be a healthy young man deciding between educating yourself and wasting your time in one of these leftist, communist, mind-numbing mills whatever you do, folks, remember you have this day and no other day. You can give your heart to Jesus. You can decide you want to be an atheist. Whatever you do, the God that created you wants you to do it with all your might, and be good to your friends and family, because before you know it, they're going to be gone.
Classy as always, sir. Classy as always. MC, show
Sorry.
us the way.
Just have hiccups.
Oh, did you want to give us any final words?
You're just gonna hear hiccups.
That's fine. It actually makes it better. Do it badly, like Professor Peterson says.
No.
Oh, that's kind of a buzzkill, because I definitely wanted to clip that later, as MC's going into a very serious topic. Like, I'm sorry, that's very disrespectful to folks that have long-term hiccups. But just to kind of bring it back around, I'll close this out. This is the thing. I started this stream just because I was getting kind of irked, a little bit edged. My gears were getting ground a little bit, just because a lot of folks that they seem to be, and yes, I'll use the term, they're kind of preaching one thing, and then as time goes by, they start preaching another, and that really just kind of bothered me, because like, if you're going to engage with folks, if you're going to be hating on folks, if you're going to start shit, you should expect to get shit back. And it just really rubbed me the wrong way. But this is why I generally kind of do my whole little mantra, that it's like, yeah, we're all human beings. We are all more similar than we are different, but we do each have our own unique life experience. And that's why I stand by, like, I got to believe most folks are good people, and good people can figure these things out. And, but at the same time, we all do stupid shit. We all do stupid stuff every single freaking day, combined with the facts that people tend to act in their own self-interest. I mean, it really does explain a lot. And it's just, that's why I try to have some semblance of decorum with our moderation and stuff. Because, like, if you ain't going out there and starting shit, a lot of times shit ain't going to be coming back at you. So for everyone out there over the internets, thank you so much. And hey, Godspeed. Peace out, everybody.